people, some of whom you probably met last year, to launch what is the second year of our partnership and Dublin Community Fund, whereby we bring to you, thanks to the gang at Microsoft, 55,000 euros for you and yours to apply for, to continue to create incredible projects in and around your community in Dublin. So a little bit of housekeeping at the start, if that's okay. If everybody could please go on mute for the moment. Yes, I do love the sound of my own voice, but actually it's more so that we don't hear bird sounds and rustling and dog barking and whatever else is going to be happening in people's worlds over the course of the launch. And the other thing is that we're going to record today's launch. Okay, so again, if you don't want to be visible, that's absolutely fine. We're going to record it and share it out on social, etc. So that's for your consideration. And then last but not least, we do have a chat function. So we would love to know who you are, where you're at, general vibes for the day if you feel like sharing them. And that's the way in which we'll kind of communicate throughout the launch. If you have questions for us, by all means throw them in there. We'll get to them as and when we can. Excuse me, but we'll also have some time, if I do my job right, at the very end for you to join in and ask questions in the moment. So does that generally sound like somebody somewhere? Give me a thumbs up. I need validation, people. I need validation. Yes. Thank you, Sarah Kelly. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Paul. Okay, splendid. So without further ado, the man of the moment is very much Gary. Are you there, sir? Can I see you now? Yes, I can. Gary McLaughlin, come and talk to us. Meet your peeps and tell us all about the Microsoft Community Challenge.
Yeah, thanks so much, Karen. So thanks everybody for joining today. So we tried to cast the net wide and reach out to a number of networks that we have within the Dublin community. So thanks so much for joining. This is our second year. We're very excited to be working with ChangeX again, to be able to reach a lot of grassroots engagements, focusing on environmental sustainability. So my name is Gary McLaughlin. I'm part of the Microsoft Data Center Community Development Team. I'm actually joined here with my colleagues Holly Beale and Richard Ryan that I see that's also on the line. So thanks for joining as well. So today, is really the kickoff. It's the launch. It's when we get this underway, and we hope that you'll be able to share this news, that you'll be able to look at some of the project initiatives and hopefully be inspired and, look to apply and gain some funding to kick off your own project idea as well. So today, the ChangeX team are going to take us through some of those initiatives. I know that we have some slides as well that we can speak to. But yeah, look, just wonderful to have everybody here, and thanks so much for Karen and the team for facilitating.
Oh, you're so welcome, Gary. Holly, would you like to come in and say hello and give a little bit of context to what we're doing today with you guys in Dublin? But really, it's one of multiple community challenges all over the world.
Yeah, that's true. We've launched these community challenges in, I believe, 11 locations around the world. So they've really been taking off and had really great uptake in our communities. The folks in the community really like that they can start their own projects and really be a part of these wonderful, varied projects in your community. And so I guess I could speak to this slide too, that this is a part of our overall mission, which is around being a good neighbor in the communities where we operate and really giving back. We want the community to appreciate our presence, be glad that we're there. And so we do that by deeply listening and providing different programs that are relevant to you in the community. And so we have several different programs for that. Actually, if you go to the next slide, can give an overview. If you haven't heard this spiel before, you can see the different programs that we offer around digital skills or sustainability. And it's looking like the slide hasn't gone forward yet for folks to see the different, maybe that's just me. But okay, I'm still seeing the same slide, but that's okay. So we have several different programs, and what we're launching today is the grassroots component to our program. So letting those in the community start their own projects, and it's also as a great sustainability focus. So I can talk more about the sustainability focus when we get to that point. But thanks all for being here. There's a slide. And I'll speak to the really sustainability focused part when we get to that point.
Okay. Beautiful. Thanks a million. So yeah, so we are some of many, which is fantastic. Everybody taking local action, but for global impact. So I absolutely love that. We're connecting with other Microsoft communities in Des Moines and San Antonio and Iowa and Sweden and more locations to come. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce you all to Paul O'Hara. He is our CEO, co-founder of ChangeX. And Paul is going to talk to you. Well, actually, Paul, you tell everybody what you're going to talk through.
Very good. Good morning, everyone. Is my sound okay? Nice to see all the familiar faces. I have this kind of view that I'm not used to looking at. It's called together mode. So you're all sitting in like studio seats. It looks pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, delighted to join you all again this year for the next iteration of our Dublin Community Fund together with Microsoft. So yeah, what I'm going to share is just a little bit of background on ChangeX for anyone that's new to it, a little bit about the challenge we had last year, and also a little about the challenge for this year before I hand it over to Katie. So first off, just a huge thanks to Gary and Holly and team, as always, for the partnership. I think this has been going on for just the second year in Dublin, but about 4 years in different parts of the world, having started in the US. And it's just always a pleasure. So thanks for your continued partnership. So you can see here a little bit of information about the background to ChangeX. So it's a platform that connects communities to social innovations and funding. So we're, the background was there's all these great ideas emerging from communities all over the world that can and should be in all other communities, but it can be challenging to kind of scale these ideas, hard for people to figure out where these ideas are, or how to get them started. So what we were trying to do was just taking great ideas that work and make them easily accessible to communities elsewhere. So we do that by curating and packaging these innovations, so things like urban tree planting. The funding partners then fuel local community teams to activate these ideas. So in this instance, it's Microsoft, and then the real work is done by the local teams who select an idea that they think is relevant for their own context to get up and running. So, and then we try to measure and share the impact outcomes to the greatest extent we can. And that could be a kind of a social impact or an environmental impact like carbon tonnage or whatnot. So just jumping on a slide, I can share a little bit of about the progress last year. So in the 2021 Dublin Community Challenge, so in total, there was just a little over 50,000 euro distributed, impacting a little over 6,000 people. There was 27 projects in total that activated and received funding, with, you can see, a little over four people per team, thereabouts, 213 team members. And they were selected from a portfolio. So there's 11 different innovations that were activated, and you can see some of the teams activating their projects there down the bottom, and you can see on a map the spread across Dublin of where all of the 27 projects activated right across the county. So and I'm sure we'll hear a bit more about some of those impacts later on. So just jumping on another slide there, Emma, I can share a little bit about the challenge for this year. Yeah, so while we're waiting for that slide, I can share a little bit. So it's launching today, 23rd of March. There's a total fund of 55,000 euro. The location is Dublin again, and the goal is to get up to 22 projects activated. So some of them will be slightly higher value than last year, hence the number change. The themes are sustainability and community prosperity, and there's 13 proven ideas from which to choose. And I know that some of the social innovators here behind those ideas will be introducing theirs, and some of the team will introduce some of the other ideas involved. So anyway, delighted to get this launched again this year, and yeah, excited to see all the various teams activating over the coming months. Thanks very much. Over to you again, Karen.
Beautiful. Thank you, Paul. So yeah, that's right. We have a baker's dozen of ideas to introduce you guys to in a moment, which we want you all to get your applications ready for. But as Paul said, we are going to hear from some of the people just like your good selves who were on the call last year, or who, read the press release or were directed to a bit on social about it, and who made the decision to submit the application. So I'm going to go back to them in 1 second. The one thing that I am going to say, though, and I'm delighted that I get to take this moment, is that such was the success of last year's fund, such was the amount of applications that we had for one group of people in particular, and I guess I'm looking at you, Pocket Forests, that actually Microsoft decided that, as well as this incredible Dublin fund to date, the tune of 55 grand, we were going to create a whole second fund, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that is called Trees for Schools. So today is a very, very big day indeed, and we'll hear about that fund from Holly and a little later on from Ash in a moment. So you put two hats on, right? Put your hat on for the Dublin Community Fund and have a little listen to the Trees for Schools project, which we'll talk about shortly. Is that all good? Okay, so I know now that we have 3 amazing starters. I just want to get a little love, Sue, a little hi there, hello to see. Is Sandra Hazel here? Or are we maybe not quite yet? I do see Anna is here though, which is fantastic, and I'm having total lipstick envy, but that's okay. And let me see, who is the other lovely person that was going to join us today? Ronan. Ronan, are you also here and ready to share your story? Yeah, okay, brilliant. Let's go with Anna and Ronan, and then we'll welcome Ms. Hazel back in when she's here. So don't just take it from us, as the fella said. Listen to people who have been through the process, who know how simple it really is, and who are going to share their story and the impact that they have. So Anna, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. I love your lipstick as well, by the way. Mine is not, in case you're looking for the same.
Excellent, excellent. So listen, tell us a little bit about the project that you started, the why, and most importantly, the how, and then a really big piece of advice to everybody on the call today.
Of course. So similarly, like everyone on the call, we're looking to bring biodiversity and more greenery to our estate in Swords. Our estate is Glassmore Park and the Windmill Lands. It's 55-year-old, so it's one of the oldest estates in Swords. Our Residents Association has been working actively for the past probably 4 years or even longer. So we've been planting laurels, we were planting daffodils, tulips, you name it. So this project was shared by us by the local councillor, Anne, and also by my neighbor, Joe. Basically, the instruction was, Anna, please apply, which I did. The support was amazing. So we knew that we'll receive a significant grant of 5K at that time to buy the trees, to buy the tools, to make sure we have bark and everything in place to create, I think, 100 square meter pocket forest. Firstly, we had to complete the form online, which was great. So I've just shared a link to our group in the chat. So in case you're wondering and want to learn a little bit more about the project, how it went on and the success of it, you can access it there. So the shout out to Katie, thanks a lot for helping us to set up the page and to make sure that we can access the fund. So Katie's from ChangeX, she's on the call as well, so thanks a lot. Massive thanks to Microsoft as well for generosity. Most importantly, Ash is on the call, so thanks a lot. Ash and Catherine from Pocket Forests, and I think Amy just joined as well when we were working with you. So Catherine, Ash, Amy, thanks a million. It seems easy on the pictures, but actually Ash and Catherine, they were putting a lot of work into kind of digging, making sure that the soil is prepared. So what happened, our first meeting with Ash and Catherine was just to plan the area for the pocket forest in our estate. Then the second meeting, we had the soil preparation date, which is a very kind of non-invasive way to prepare the soil. So we had to make sure that we have the right soil, and Ash and Catherine helped us to provide it. So then when the soil was prepared, we were planting in November. And I'll make sure that this week we add the pictures as well of how the pocket forests are looking at the moment, and they're just beautiful. And last that I wanted to mention, we did decide to dedicate those pocket forests. So we actually have two smaller ones. So one is dedicated towards the residents, because like we have a very strong community here, so residents that are no longer with us. And the second one was thanks to frontline workers during the pandemic, such as teachers, healthcare workers, and so on. So I really wanted to use this opportunity and say thanks and encourage other people to participate as well.
Anna, that's beautiful. Thank you. And how lovely that you've created a beautiful green space for the future, but also in remembrance of those who have passed. Yeah, bravo. That's lovely. And thank you for the shout out to Katie. It's nice to know that that direct support that we offer really makes a difference. So thank you for that. Now, I'm just going to do a quick check again with Miss Sandy Hazel, because I know this is a woman under time pressure. Has she arrived?
I'm here. Can you see me?
I can't see you yet. Hey, Sandy Hazel.
Can you hear me?
How are you? You look like you're phoning us from Copper St. Jack's because you've got some glittery, dancey lights on in the background, which is very interesting.
Disco ball.
Disco ball in your house on a Wednesday. I love it. I love it. Sandy, I have long wanted to meet somebody who'd started an open orchard. I just love the idea of this. It's an open source idea on the ChangeX platform. Tell us more. How, why, where, when?
Okay. Well, we're a community garden and we've been established for about 10 years. And we kind of took over a bit of land. Dublin City Council have given it to us on a license. So every year we have to kind of vacate the premises in January, just so we don't get any, tenure, security of tenure. But anyway, we've built a lovely little green oasis in the middle of the city in Dublin 8. And it's kind of, it brings in some gardeners who are, and the rest of us just row in behind them and help them with, painting and cleaning and leaf, sweeping and weeding. But we've been kind of living on cuttings and people donating plants and that kind of stuff. And we've done really well. But we heard about the ChangeX, the Microsoft grant through ChangeX, and we wanted to buy some proper trees, some proper fruit trees, and build an orchard, because part of the whole deal with the garden is growing food. We want people to learn how to grow their own food in the inner city. And we had a list. Some of our serious gardeners all had their little wish list, but we had to apply for the grant first. And I have to say, the ChangeX grant was probably one of the easier processes we've ever done. It was very straightforward and very user-friendly. The whole thing was like, it was kind of just so streamlined. It was fantastic. And we had some great hand-holding along the way. We were able to upload pictures very easily. We were able to create a dedicated group very easily who could all kind of join in. And it was just fantastic. So our grant came through. We were able to buy some serious fruit trees, including figs, medlars, cherries, edible horse chestnuts, apricots. We've got a serious kind of orchard now on the go, and we were also able to spend that money locally. So there's kind of a little trickle up effect as well. We were able to go to a small independent nursery in Blessington Lakes Nursery. And they were able to get us most of what we wanted, but during lockdown it was difficult kind of to source some of the trees, but we got most of them. We started with strawberries, and then the planting season for the rootstock was later, so we had to kind of hang on to the money for a bit until the rootstock became available. So we did all our planting end of October, November, and yeah, we're hoping for a little harvest now this year, and we're very happy. And also, I have to say, getting the money it's not just about the money as well. It's kind of validation for what we're doing. So it means that we're doing something right, that an organization like Microsoft can go, well, look, you're doing okay, here's a few bob, and they just trusted us to go off and do it. So you're all welcome to come down to our garden anytime. And we'll let you know where it is. And we're having another planting day on April the 24th, which is when we're going to put some potatoes in. So the main thing is that kids will be able to come into the space over the next couple of years and pick berries, pick fruit, which is something inner city kids really wouldn't normally have an opportunity to do. So that's it.
Sandy, that is superb. That's it, she says. Like, it's just Asher,
Yeah.
you know yourself. That is exceptional. Yeah, like brilliant. Well done. And I love the fact that you reference how that bit of seed funding from Microsoft, supported by our process, equaled local economy as well. Like you literally kept it local. So what goes around comes around. So I'll sign up for a jar of apricot jam. Thanks very much. Put my name.
Yeah, absolutely. You're all very welcome. We also have hives. We've got honey coming from hives as well.
Oh,
so so it's all good. You're all very welcome anytime. My next job is to get some labels, because I want the trees to be labeled properly, so people will know what they're picking. So, and we have a little tiny bit of money left over for a smaller project that's going to happen. That we kept €200 for a smaller project that's going to happen this summer. So so thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Quite literally money for jam, as the fella said.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely. Yeah, whenever you're in Dublin, please come down
Excellent.
and have a little recce. Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you, Sandy, and thank you for joining us. I know you're a busy human, and it was a short stop, so much appreciated.
I'm really sorry. I have to. I'm due. My roster starts at 12:30, so I have to run upstairs.
Go.
Thanks, guys.
Well,
Thanks.
we'll keep you
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Ronan, how are you? And where are you even?
I'm over here. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Well, listen, thanks a million for hanging tough there for a little second as Sandy jumped on. You're really welcome. Come here, tell us a little bit about your project, but I'm dying to know, were you on the launch call last year for the first fund, or how did you even come to know about the Microsoft Challenge?
So it was total chance. So it was actually the teacher. So sorry, I'm a teacher in an Educate Together school here in Powerstown in Dublin. And it was a mentor of mine. She actually taught me in junior infants. She's big into gardening. She's a beekeeper herself in Cork. And she sent me a link. She got an email and she saw that it was based in Dublin. She said, look, have a look at this. And I leapt at it straight away, because I don't know how many of the rest of you have ever worked in schools before, but whenever we have a chance to get some funding for anything, we just grab it with two hands, because it's few and far between. So I want to echo what Sandy said. It was the most straightforward process and really enjoyable process I've ever undertook to access funding. It was so interactive and so enjoyable to go through it step by step and to see the money coming through in a couple of stages that really kind of encouraged you to put a plan in place and then take it to the next level and actually achieve it, which is like ultimately what we did. So like, we're Powerstown Educate Together National School, and we're out in Dublin 15 in Tyrrellstown. So it's a very new area. The actual town and development itself is only about 25 years old, and our school is 10 years old this year. And 6 years ago, we built this big new building and landscaped the grounds, and it was all looking fabulous and things, but it was mostly lawn, structured, more ornamental garden, and we're bordering a field, and it's just a railing that separates us. So there's no hedgerow, there's no kind of biodiversity going on. And we set about it about 3 years ago in kind of changing that. So we created a couple of mowing plans and stopped cutting down the big banks we have at the back of the school. And when we saw that this funding was available from Microsoft through ChangeX, I said, oh, this is our chance now to do some great work. So we designated one huge bed in our school last year, and we created a wildflower bed for pollinators. And we left it quite late to plant, but we were still delighted. It was still huge and fluffy with beautiful flowers. And this year, actually tomorrow, we're getting a rotavator. We've dug out this huge new patch in our lawn, and we're preparing the soil to sow a new wildflower bed for this coming summer. So we had the kids out that were lifting sod. I don't think any group of kids has ever worked harder in their lives last autumn preparing that patch of ground. But you know, it's been an amazing experience for every child in the school. There isn't a class in our school, we've nearly 400 kids, that hasn't been out and experiencing that area, because this area where we're living, there's, you know, some uneven socioeconomic factors. Some children are coming from really tough backgrounds. We have a lot of intellectual needs, social and emotional needs, and those opportunities for going out into nature and finding a flower and picking it up, and or looking closely at a bee or a butterfly and walking in long grass and rolling down a hill, those are opportunities that, you know, we probably took for granted and that these kids don't get ordinarily, and we're giving them that opportunity to do that in school. And it's paid off in droves. We have this nurture program which focuses on providing kids with wholesome, kind of holistic experiences that maybe through their home life they don't get that at home. So they come into school every day and they have breakfast and they have, you know, we're more of a parental role. But that side of things has benefited hugely from the projects we've undertaken with this funding, because they've been able to go outside and grow things and look at bugs and insects and flowers that are growing and talk about why they're important and name all the different wildflowers, you know, and create this real connection, not just with the garden and with the insects and the flowers, but with us as well, which is vital. So it's really had kind of a further reaching effect than what we ever thought it would. And I suppose a bit of advice for anybody is, we were so delighted to take it in small steps at the start. Like, we picked one section of our garden, we did that, and we had great success, and it gave everybody this super feeling of success. Oh, look, we did it, we did something, let's do this next. And so now there's a whole staff kind of an interest in furthering that on. We've got a composting initiative going on now, and we've got more class teachers on board to help out in the garden. So it's going from strength to strength.
Oh, fantastic, Ronan. Thank you so much. And like, I love the idea of the kids just tumbling down and it just being such a neutral, welcoming space. That's amazing. And again, to hear the ripple effect that it has, you know, from one tiny seed, pardon the pun, comes all the other amazingness. I was trying to see if I could see Sarah Kelly's face as you were describing the lawn at the start. Like, breathe, Sarah, breathe.
Well, today was a great day because we had our first grass cut today, and I spent a couple of weeks making out a plan with our groundskeeper, and I went out with him on the ride on today, and we created all of our shapes in the areas where we wanted to leave it long. So it's looking fabulous. We're making the most of the sunny weather.
Excellent, 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 excellent. Yes, let's all make a commitment to wild the bejesus out of it this year. Isn't that right, Sarah? But you'll tell us why in just a little minute. Okay. So thank you so much. You've heard from 3 amazing people who did exactly what you're all going to do. You heard about the opportunity, we learned about the process, you were inspired by all the amazing stories that you're going to hear now and later, and then you shared the news, you shared this opportunity, because there's 55 grand. Like, that's an awful lot of money with which to have incredible impact. Okay, so you are these people. Which of you on the call now will be on the call next year sharing your stories of impact and inspiration? Okay, I want to know. Now, before we get into hearing from some of the social innovators who are making up that beautiful baker's dozen of ideas in a portfolio, Katie Smith, much appreciated for the support that you offer. Are you going to come and talk to us about the how?
I sure am. Paul, if you could share some slides there, it'd be fantastic, but I can kick off as we wait.
Yeah, I just realized that I need to set up some privacy permissions. So it's not
okay. Maybe Emma.
Gary might be best placed. Gary, would you mind?
Anyone who might share some slides would be great. Pop on to slide 8, I think it is.
Nice one. See, this is partnership in action. See, yeah. This is team. This is team.
So I'll kick off. So hopefully you're all feeling super inspired now after hearing those amazing stories of projects having got kicked off in communities around Dublin. I'm going to very briefly talk you through the how, if you want to do it, or if you know anyone else in your community who might be interested in doing it this year. Okay. So the it's a 55K fund, and there are 13 ideas available to start. So the first thing you'll do is you'll go to the fund landing page, which is live as of today, and you can choose the idea that you want to start that is most suited to your community. Once you go through the very short application process of starting, you'll get brought to your own page on the ChangeX site, and at that point you'll be brought through a 30-day challenge. So some of the starters that we heard from kind of alluded to it there, but it's a really simple process. The product kind of guides you through it. You have to form a team on the page, so yourself plus 4 others. You'll have a call with one of us. You'll have a call with one of us on the ChangeX team, myself or my colleague Leah or Killian or Neve, or someone who'll help you get clear on what your plans are, and give you any support that you might need. You will have your first team meeting, so you and your 4 others on your page will come together in real life or virtually, whatever suits you best, and develop an action plan for your project. And once you've finished that 30-day challenge within the 30 days, the funding is yours, and it'll get sent to you in 2 allocations, a 70% and a 30% allocation once you complete your impact survey a few months down the line. So this fund is available to absolutely anyone who's really passionate about making their community a better place. So whether you're an individual and you form a team as part of this process, or you're an existing community group, a residents association, a nonprofit, a school, whatever you might be, this is for you. Once you're in County Dublin. Yeah, so nothing is sharing here. I don't know if anyone thinks there is, but that's fine. We're going to keep going. Okay, great.
We can see the slide with how
you
the
can.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I can't
Lovely.
see that for some reason. Okay, so I'm trying to remember what's on them, but I think I do. So the support that you'll get is myself or one of my colleagues at the other end of the phone, or email if you've got any questions along the way. There'll be a 5-step guide that's directly relevant to the project that you're starting, and also a guide for more general starting projects in your community. So there's kind of loads of resources there from previous change makers and previous starters in communities. You'll get your own project page on ChangeX, which will help you to organize team meetings, post updates. And yeah, so if you've got any questions at all, you can get in touch with us at support@changex.org. And I think I'm going to leave you now to the social innovators, who are going to be able to bring you through the amazing ideas that are available to start.
Beautiful. Thank you, Katie. So yeah, you just heard from her there how simple it really is. And the page is now live. Don't leave us. Stay with us to hear from the social innovators, but do take a moment with a cup of coffee to have a little look through. And as Katie said, loads of us are available here to help you out, both through the process itself and then as you get going. And what I will share with you as well, you might have heard some of the gang there talking about how they shared their photos and the part of their impact report. So like, they give us such joy. You've no idea, you know, like, this is a really active, engaged grant funding partnership application process thingamybobbery. Like, literally we see all the applications come in our Slack challenge every day, and like, they just give us joy. So like, trust us, we read them with delight, and then the photos are just incredible. So without further ado, even no more coffee for me, I'm going to introduce you to some of the social innovators who are the people behind the ideas that are on our platform and in this beautiful Microsoft Dublin Community Fund portfolio. Okay, so we don't have all 13, we just have 3, and I'm hoping Sarah Kelly is still here, because I know she also needed to go and do another commitment. She's in high demand. Sarah, were you able to stay?
I am indeed, yes. I'm obviously not on your screen, but yes, I am here.
How are you? Listen, can you give us a couple of minutes still and talk all about the beautiful...
Yes, no, I'm still fine for about another 20 minutes. So thank you to you, Karen, and the ChangeX team, and to Microsoft for creating this platform today. As Karen said, I am part of the All Ireland Pollinator Plan. My name is Sarah Kelly, and as the name would suggest, we're all about the pollinators, specifically wild bees, which obviously are a key part of our biodiversity. We're now in our 6th year. We have numerous local communities who've been taking amazing actions for pollinators in terms of planting, etc. We've got roughly 100 government and non-government partners on board. 86% of the island's councils are all taking actions for pollinators. Roughly about 380 businesses, from very large corporates to micro enterprises, and numerous farmers. So the message is getting out, and thanks to ChangeX for contributing and supporting us in that. Just to say, the Irish government actually declared a biodiversity emergency in 2019 alongside the declaration in terms of climate emergency. And really what the declaration on the biodiversity side of things is really saying is that we've got a major problem with biodiversity loss, and we need to start taking specific nature positive actions to support biodiversity. I'm sure you're all aware that bees are in decline globally, and we've all known it for quite some time. On this island, it's no different, and we know this at the data centre from our various monitoring schemes, such as the bumblebee monitoring scheme, and you'll be seeing lots of larger bumblebees appearing, given that it's springtime, as they start to do their work when they now that they've emerged from hibernation. In terms of statistics for our wild bees, actually 1/3 of our 99 wild bee species are actually threatened with extinction on the island, and it's happening because of how we're managing our landscape, the types of pesticides we're using. And again, we kind of know this, but basically what's happening is the wild bees are starving and have nowhere to live, so they're not able to do a really vital job of pollination of crops. When we think about how bees operate, start to think about hunger gaps. So wild bees need food in terms of flowers from early spring to autumn. And when I kind of say to you about, I suppose, the behaviors of bees or their mechanisms, say, for example, a bee with a full tummy is only 40 minutes from starvation. A queen bee, as she emerges from hibernation, needs thousands of flowers per day in early spring. And I suppose a nod of the head towards Darwinism, that different bee species have different sizes of tongues, so need different sizes and types of flowers. We know from pollinator studies also that bumblebees generally look for food within 1 kilometre of the nest or less. Solitary bee species forage within 300 metres of the nest, and an increase in 150 metres between a nest and flowers, as in their food, can reduce the number of viable offspring by more than 70%. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, where do I even start, or what can I do to support wild bees and therefore wider biodiversity? Well, we have very simple principles which are evidence-based in terms of any recommendations that we give the basis is evidence. So we've got physical and then communication actions that any community, volunteer group or resident association can take to support wild bees. So their top 5 physical actions would be: number 1, check out what is already great on your site or sites. When you start to see it in a new way, Karen kind of said that, kind of a little bit rougher, a little bit wilder, that's kind of what we're starting to want to see in the landscape. You'll already have seen lots of kind of wilder areas, maybe on roundabouts or adjacent to roadsides. So number 1 is check what is really good on your site. Number 2, reduce mowing of grass and cutting of hedgerows if you have them. That is the best and cheapest way to provide food for wild bees. Then increase planting of bulbs, shrubs and trees, which are pollinator friendly and very pollinator specific. Don't have to be expensive. It can be simple as crocuses or snowdrops. And interestingly, daffodils and tulips have virtually no pollen value. I love them. Daffodils are one of my favourites, but they've got virtually no pollen value for wild bees. So number 4 would be identifying nesting site potential. Again, doesn't have to be complicated, but an old stone wall, an earth bank, which is south facing, that you take the vegetation off, a hedgerow. Bumblebees actually nest underneath hedgerows. So again, depending on your site, And then the obvious one, which we all know, which is eliminate pesticides. So those would be the top five physical actions. And what might that look like in terms of your projects? And you probably already have lots of ideas, but something like a wild bee garden, a herb garden for wild bees, a pollinator trail on your site, which might incorporate your car park. You might think about, kind of, if you're a residents association, thinking about more beds, more planters, maybe even engaging with the Pocket Forest team to create opportunities in terms of planting of trees. In each of those areas, then start to think about the mapping of those areas. The first contributor actually encapsulated it really well. So one of our little strap lines is "Don't mow, let it grow." So can you leave areas for wildflowers? And just to say, we're very aware that there are lots of wildflower seeds that are being sold. Just be really careful when you're purchasing, or if you are purchasing, and check that the source is native to the island. Many of them have invasive species, which is really unhelpful for the landscape and our pollinators. So we're starting to think about natural regeneration, and normally it takes about 2 to 3 years. So you can start off on a 6-week cut from mid-April, which will create the lovely clover lawn with dandelions, daisies, buttercups. Then a yearly cut in September, which will provide food and shelter for pollinators throughout that spring to autumn very busy time when they're doing their work.
Sarah.
Yes.
Sorry to jump in and interrupt, because I could listen to you all day and I learn something every time you join. Things that both horrify me and inspire me. But I'm going to ask you to hold there, just because I'm actually going to be a stickler for time today. Highly unusual, I know, but there's a first time for everything. Can I just say, just to remind everybody, that through the fund and with the resources on ChangeX and yourselves, everything that you've just said there is available in a variety of booklets and how-to guides. These are well established. I'm sure we've all seen, the big posters on those roundabouts and on the pathways, etc. So all of that support and access is available to people. Yeah. Anybody in particular in the County Dublin area that you would love, love, love to engage with in 1 second?
Community groups, residents associations, and everything is on pollinators.ie. It doesn't cost anything, so free to use, all resources, and no catch.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So no lawns, no mow, wild. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sarah, for your time. Much appreciated, as ever.
Everybody.
Now, I'm going to introduce you to a man called Neil Mccabe. Neil is the founder of the Green Plan. It's a very special day because the Green Plan has been part of the ChangeX platform really for quite some time. But, everything needs a refresh. Everything needs to be relaunched. And today is that day. Now, Neil has just come off, because he's a fireman as well, because of course he is. So he has just come off a night shift. So Neil, are you there?
Yeah. Hi, Karen. Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, and definitely thanks to ChangeX and to Microsoft for getting this project off the ground. I've been knocking around for 16 years with the Green Plan, and we've been on ChangeX. But what I've done in the last few months is just rejig things around and make the Green Plan more accessible. That it's literally down to being a step-by-step guide to gaining an accreditation, so that your community can reduce 1 ton of carbon by taking 10 simple activities. So just listening to some other people talking today, there's so much interaction between the different ChangeX groups, and making it more and more easy to achieve all the total value of the project. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to see the Green Plan going up on ChangeX. Our challenge ourselves is to actually get 1,000 communities taking part in the Green Plan by Christmas. So if we can achieve that, that would be the same as reducing 1,000 tons of emissions and emissions equivalent in the community, with fun projects that are so easy to achieve that everybody can take part in. And of course, it turns out that 1,000 tons of emission equivalent being reduced in the community is the same as planting 45,000 trees without having to plant them. So although it's great for pollination and different things, wouldn't it be brilliant if we could make that much of an impact that easily and have fun along the way?
Excellent. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Neil. And you're dead right. And everybody, if you have a little look there, you'll see the resources, and there's everything from energy catchers and water hippos and planting and river cleanups and everything. So it's bringing a lot of those ChangeX ideas actually under one green plan umbrella. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing how groups get on with that. We'll hit the 1,000, Neil. I know we will. I know we will.
Brillo.
And last but not least, Ella Stevens. Welcome, welcome. Ella is from Plant Pure Communities. I'm sure lots of you know that we are all encouraged to eat more of a plant-based diet. It's a significant way that we can have a positive impact on the climate as well as our own health and well-being. Ella, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Karen. Hi, everyone. We are excited to be featured on ChangeX this year for the first time. As Karen said, I represent Plant Pure Communities. We are a nonprofit based in the US, but we have a global network of groups in our grassroots movement. And our main goal is to spread information and resources about the health and environmental benefits of plant-based nutrition. Our organization's goal is to create kinder, healthier, and more sustainable communities. And so we work with groups called pods all around the world, and we're currently in 32 countries, but it would be great if, yes, there's people in Dublin in Ireland who would like to start a pod. And so we encourage people who are interested in plant-based nutrition, who know a bit about plant-based nutrition, who want to share information and resources with their communities about the benefits of shifting towards a plant-based diet or adopting one completely. And we support the leaders of these groups with resources and information and initiatives and campaigns that they can engage their community members in. And so we're just a grassroots movement trying to spread, the benefits of shifting our food choices towards more plants and less animals. And we're here to support you every step of the way. And so, if you're interested, we would love for you to apply to start a pod. You can get some funding to help you out to arrange an event or get food samples for, people who are coming to learn more about dietary choices and, shifting our habits. So, please check us out on the site. There's more information there, and we will support you every step of the way.
Yes, excellent, excellent. I'm so excited for this. I can't wait to see the applications coming in. I have a feeling it's going to be super popular. And again, what you'll have heard, everybody, from our brilliant innovators there and from our starters previously, is that funding is to cover things from like getting a room to host your team kickoff meeting. It's there available to you to spend as you feel is necessary to have the most impact to make it happen, because we trust you all know what you're doing, and then we help you with the resources and the toolkits and the this, that along the way. So thank you so much to the innovators who have joined us on the call today. Now we are bizarrely on time, which I'm just delighted about. I haven't been keeping an eye in the chat box actually, so I don't know if there's anything there, Katie or Paul or Emma, that we need to address straight away, or is there something we need to call out? No, we've just got loads of love coming.
Lots of enthusiasm for lots of ideas.
Excellent, excellent. That's what we like to hear. Okay, so we're going to leave you just with an ask that you have a quick scan of the portfolio page here. These are the 13 ideas. You've heard from 3. There are many, 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 many more. Repair cafes, better block parklets, plastic free for kids, cycle bus, community fridges. Like seriously, check them all out, and there's brilliant descriptors there. And if you can't decide which to go for, give us a shout and we'll give you more information as and when. Yeah, is that okay? Cool. Right. So we're just going to take a little pause for a second and slightly park the Dublin Community Challenge here for 1 minute, but actually that triggered this. And so Holly Beale, if you could join us again, come back and talk to us about this brilliant, another first today, the Trees for School idea that we're going to do with you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Karen. And I just Love all the ideas that are coming through. And this is a new idea. It's a separate fund from the ChangeX Community Challenge, and it's a Trees for Schools challenge. It's our first time launching a challenge like this, but I have a feeling it's going to be adopted pretty well in this area, judging by the folks that have talked about starting projects so far. So what this project is it's a pool of funds specifically dedicated for trees on school grounds. So trees, as we know, can have a lot of different benefits in communities, and on school grounds especially can have a really special impact. How we can have education opportunities with the students and social equity components along with their positive local environment benefits. So they have to be done properly, but luckily we have great partners here that know the local environment, and will do an assessment for the schools and find out what types of foliage would work best for that school, work with the folks who work at the school to find what will work best for the students. And then we can also have local involvement for the folks at the schools to help in the process. So really excited for this. We should be able to fund several different schools around the communities to have trees on the property. I think we've already heard from the success of this program, so really excited to have this dedicated fund specifically for trees for schools. And as I mentioned, it's our first time doing this. If it works well here, maybe we'll replicate to more communities. So thank you for being our first community to try this in. But also, like I mentioned, I have pretty high confidence that it's y'all are gonna really take this and run with it and have some great outcomes. So thanks so much, and let us know if you have questions.
Lovely. Thank you, Holly. Yeah, happy that we're starting it today, but this is the first of many. I feel it in my bones. Ash, would you join us for a quick minute to just talk a little bit about how it'll actually work once a school, looking at you, Ronan, would actually receive the support once they go through the process?
Hi everyone, Ash here from Rock Forest. Yeah, this is super exciting for us. We started up in 2020, and we've worked with communities and schools planting pocket forests, which we've developed from the tiny forest methodology. So our biodiversity concentration is both above and below ground. So we work very closely with whatever community. So obviously this is with the schools. We work with the soil first. That is our first preparation, and it's a fantastic opportunity because especially kids in cities never ever get the opportunity or even have the headspace to even think that there is life underneath our feet. Most people we know, most kids we come across in the city haven't picked up a spade or put their hand in the ground, and it very quickly goes from, oh no, that's gross, to, oh, this is a brilliant, look what I've found, and the kids coming up and showing us. And because we use permaculture methods, it makes the process easily accessible to everyone. So people can either work in the soil preparation or in the planting stage on their own or with their friends, and we work alongside them. So we've found that because we do the physical work alongside the kids, there is no level of hierarchy any longer. So the kids feel comfortable, and we have found that we will guide them, but very often the kids will work out their own systems once we've told them what needs to be done, both in the planting and the soil preparation stage, that they will work out their own systems to complete this work. And that is really, really lovely to see. And we've seen kids from being non-stop diggers, we have to try and get them to put down the spade, to kids who will sit there and quietly contemplate the worm in their hand. Wow. So this is like super exciting for us, and like I said, the really important thing for us, and I guess our unique selling point is that we concentrate so much on what's below ground as what's above ground, and we just like Sarah was saying with the pollinator plant, we're very much educating too that the wildness of spaces is what we need to re-educate and reconnect with. We also find with the kids, it's a bit like we don't know what we love until we see it. We're so used to see these manicured spaces that we think that they are the beautiful nature spaces that we want. But once we become connected with our native trees and the wildness and the life that they bring to the space, it's very quick turnaround.
Excellent. Yes. Brilliant. This is going to be very, very cool. And like, you know, we heard earlier about the huge help and support you give to teams starting. And that's just a godsend, because, you know, we don't all know how to do this. It's the most natural thing in us. We just need to remember. And Ash, I'm right in saying it's primary and secondary schools, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And on that, we're very much about, especially in cities, this is about empowering people, because people in cities, there can be quite a negative attitude towards trees and that they are beyond anyone's capabilities, but that's just not the case. And because we're planting small bare root trees, they get a chance to watch them grow up and can manage them. And with this, we worked with the local artists, and we have a beautiful poster which we've just developed, which the school will get for species identification, as well as a beautiful booklet which is again more species identification, along with how to care for your forests. You can let it go as wild as you want, or you can manage it with pruning, etc.
Yeah. Wild, she says from the back of the theatre. Wild. Okay, brilliant. Ash, thank you so much. And thank you, Holly. It's just beautiful to see our collective partnership developing, and, you know, something that started in last year's fund now becoming its own separate opportunity and campaign. Like, happy days. This is what we need to do. More, I say. Okay, so lovely people, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. I have one last ask of you before I invite Gary back in. Whether you can put it in your chat, or you want to quickly blurt it out, or follow it up quietly afterwards, that's cool too. Who are you going to tell about this opportunity? Who are you going to share with? Who are you going to email? Who are you going to WhatsApp? Who are you going to have a chat with later on? Who are you going to meet in the staff room, the queue, the whatever, wherever you find yourself talking to other humans? You know, Ronan shared how a colleague of his in Cork heard about it, sent the ping, bing bang wash, kids rolling down hills, happy days. This is how the magic happens. Okay, so I know you're all here today, and yes, we want you to submit your own application, but you know what? We got to be the ripple effect. Yeah. We got to spread the word and get those applications in. So if you could, I'd love you to go ping, 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 ping. This is who I'm going to tell, and this is how I'm going to tell them. And the other thing we'd love to know is if anybody is literally waiting for me to stop talking so you can get off the call, so you can get an application in, what's it for and why? We'd love to know. So put all that in the chat, right? That gives us all the joys. I'm also thinking there's no more burning urgent questions. Am I right? I didn't get a flag. Nope. Great. I'm looking at you, Katie, because you are basically my boss and telling me what to do. So no, just like cut it, Karen. Cut it. Okay, marvelous. Right, Mr. Gary, where are you?
Still here. Yeah. Thanks, Karen. So look. Yeah, I think just to close us out, thanks so much to the ChangeX team for facilitating the call today. Thanks so much for all the lovely examples that we heard of from those project leads from last year's community challenge. Really inspiring. Just such worthwhile projects that are being led out in our communities. And I suppose for the social innovators that actually spoke today as well, from, you know, the various different activities that are actually on the ChangeX platform, for those to actually access and hopefully gain some funding to support your own activity for 2022. On behalf of Microsoft, you know, we are really excited to see this launched. It's a great collaboration and partnership with the ChangeX team. Long may it continue, and you know, all the best for the year to come.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, everybody, for your time and energy and input today. And you know what? The future's so green. We got to wear shades, people. Let's do it. Wild and green. That's good. I'm going to get a t-shirt. Wild and green. Excellent.
Thanks a million, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Get an applause.
Thanks, everyone. Looking forward to seeing your applications. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.